It's Wednesday, September 22nd, and this is now on HNN.
These guys are law enforcement partners. They're motivated and they're hungry.
The search resumes for a person of interest in the Gabby Petito case. I'm Aduria Chimba in Northport, Florida, with more on the hunt for Brian Laundrie.
Disturbing details about a Big Island couple accused of imprisoning a 14-year-old.
We're hopeful that pretty soon, at least, he'll be stabilized.
The family of a teen paralyzed in a West Side crash sues the city and HPD, alleging a cover-up. These stories plus a look back at the life of Al Harrington.
He was an intelligent Polynesian man, well-spoken, lots of aloha.
That's coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for watching This Is Now. You got Jonathan and Mark and for Ashley here in the HNN Digital Center. Let's get right to those latest numbers being reported by the State Department of Health.
Yeah, the latest statistics from the state released this morning. The state reports 12 new COVID deaths, bringing the overall death toll across the state to 726. 330 new infections were also reported, 216 of which were on Oahu. We have a full county-by-county breakdown for you, available on HawaiiNewsNow.com.
We also have this live video feed coming into the H&N Digital Center. That's the White House, a rainy afternoon there. We're talking about the president's big announcement today. He is asking wealthy nations to do the same of what he just said the U.S. is doing, and that is increasing the purchase of Pfizer COVID vaccine shots to hand out to the needy nations of the world. We got Natalie Brand standing by at the White House with the very latest on that.
At a virtual summit, President Biden pushed wealthy nations to do more to increase global vaccination rates.
The only way to get this done is for everyone, everywhere, is for all of us to step up.
The president said the U.S. is stepping up, buying another 500 million doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine to share with the world, bringing the U.S. total to more than 1 billion doses.
To beat the pandemic here, we need to beat it everywhere.
Currently, less than 45% of the world population has received at least one dose, and in some low-income countries, the rate is as low as 2 to 3%.
World leaders participated in the global COVID summit as discussions continue here in the U.S. over plans for booster shots.
An FDA announcement is expected shortly after its advisory committee recommended a third dose for Americans 65 and older, as well as those at high risk. A CDC advisory committee began its two-day meeting on boosters Wednesday.
Given the types of immune responses we're seeing here, as well as the real-world evidence, this bodes well for the vaccine to provide substantial benefit to those individuals that are boosted.
Over on Capitol Hill, a teenager was among witnesses who testified virtually Wednesday at a hearing on COVID's impacts on children.
This has been a tremendously difficult time, I think, for everyone, but really young people in particular.
The head of the American Academy of Pediatrics testified that child COVID cases have increased exponentially with the spread of the Delta variant. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
There's a new testing option on Oahu. Let's check in with Casey Lund right now. Hey, Casey, I know you're at the Waikiki show. What kind of tests are being offered there?
Yeah, good afternoon. So they're offering this is a great opportunity for folks, especially when you think about all the state and county workers that are still needing to get tested. They're offering the PCR test. So that's the standard test that we're used to when you had to test for pre-travel, right? So that is going to take about a day, 24 to 48 hours to get those results. They're also offering those rapid antigen tests. Now, those results can come back in an hour's time, as quickly as an hour, but you should know that both of those tests are still the nasal swab. So if you are a little queasy with that, just be prepared. Both the PCR and the antigen tests are going to be those nasal swab tests.
Oh, those nasal swab tests always get me sneezing. I know that. Okay, so you've interviewed a lot of healthcare providers today, right? So who are they seeing walk into this clinic?
Yeah, you know, well, we did talk about flu vaccinations as well, but focusing on testing here, Nomi Health is the provider that's partnering with the city for this walk-up test. And they say they don't keep track of exactly why people come in for their tests. Exactly, it could be because, like I said, they're a state and county worker who opted for an exemption rather than a vaccination. But what they did know and what they do keep track of is visitors. And one of the gals that I spoke with here through Nomi Health says they've seen about half and half. They're pretty interested to see that. Half visitors and tourists, the other half local people looking to get tested. They're encouraged to that. That means that people that are coming to visit are also being responsible and trying to make sure they get a test once they land.
All right, remind us of the hours going on there today, and if you can't make it today, where else can you get a test?
Yeah, so this opened up this morning at 9. It goes until 5 today. They did book all the appointments. You can still sign up to register and pre-register and walk up and still do a walk-in. You can do that at testing.nomihealth.com. They also are going to have opportunities in Laie and on Oahu's windward side at the Kaneohe Bay Shopping Center. Those will also be, Nomi Health will also be offering an opportunity on the Big Island in Hilo. All that information, again, can be found at testing.nomihealth.com.
Casey Lund, thank you so much for that update.
Well, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is forecasting that new hospitalizations will go down over the next 4 weeks. For an update on our local hospitals, here's Healthcare Association of Hawaii President Hilton Rathel.
So as of today, we still have 282 COVID positive patients in our hospitals, about 88% of whom are unvaccinated. Now, that's a lot better than what we had a few weeks ago, but it is still as high as the peak that we had in August of last year. Now, on top of that, we have a lot of non-COVID patients in our hospitals. So between all our other patients and our COVID patients, our hospitals are very, very full. And we have some of our hospitals still that are running over their licensed bed capacity at this point in time.
A woman is in critical condition after being pinned under a city bus this morning in Liliha. Emergency crews responded to the incident at Liliha and Ihe Streets shortly before 6 a.m. HFD brought in special equipment to lift the bus and remove her. She was transported to a nearby hospital. On the Big Island, Amy and Alexander Aquino are facing charges for allegedly chaining a 14-year-old to their porch in Captain Cook several times in the past year. We're told the victim is now in protective custody and is doing fine. A Kona judge granted the couple supervised release. They could face 10 years in prison if convicted.
Developing news. The search for Brian Laundrie at a Florida wilderness park resumed for the 4th day. Laundrie is a person of interest in the death and disappearance of his fiancée. CBS reporter Adura Achumba is outside the Laundrie family home in Northport, Florida.
Search teams are combing through this Florida swampland looking for Brian Laundrie, possibly the last person to have seen 22-year-old Gabby Petito alive.
It's rough out there. Yeah, it's rough out there. It's hot. It's wet.
Lurking in the challenging terrain, alligators, snakes, and police hope Laundrie.
These guys are law enforcement partners. They're motivated and they're hungry to find Brian Laundrie.
Laundrie and Petito documented their dream cross-country trip on social media, but a dispute witnessed by a passerby in Utah last month flagged police.
Hi, we've just been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
Police questioned the couple about physical violence. Neither wanted to press charges.
I'm fine, and I love Gabby. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me.
Laundrie returned to the family home here in Northport, Florida on September 1st alone. He refused to speak with police before he vanished last week.
This is as serious as it gets.
Laundrie has not been named a suspect in his fiance's homicide, but former U.S. Attorney John Huber says prosecutors are likely already working with police to determine if and when charges may be filed.
If there's evidence as to what happened here and who did it, certainly charges can issue if they believe they have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt.
A spokesperson for Gabby Petito's family confirmed the investigation team in Wyoming left a cross of stones near where her body was found. Aduria Chumba, CBS News, Northport, Florida.
All right, we have an update to pass along regarding a 14-year-old boy who was left paralyzed in a crash in Makaha.
We've finally gotten a little bit of good news. Apparently he's able to move his upper body a little bit. They are successfully, it appears, weaning him by removing the breathing tube.
But his family is still suing the 3 officers accused of causing the crash and fleeing the scene. As Rick Daysog reports, it could end up costing the city millions.
14-year-old Dayton Govea was paralyzed 9 days ago when the car he was riding in crashed and ejected him and several others. Witnesses say the white Honda went airborne in Makaha while being chased by 3 police vehicles which drove off afterwards.
There are no words to express how this has affected our family as a whole. I can say this, that really in our family, like right now, there is no anger, but it's more sadness.
The family is now suing the city and the Honolulu Police Department, saying the officers caused the collision with an illegal chase and then tried to cover up their involvement by filing reports falsely describing the crash as a single-car accident.
Well, their failure to render aid just on a humanitarian basis is atrocious. I don't know what kind of people these officers are that an accident like this would occur as serious as it was, and they would just drive away. It's appalling to me. And I don't think anybody has any sympathy for these officers if that's in fact the way they conducted themselves.
The 3 officers have been suspended, and the HPD has launched criminal and administrative investigations. Attorney Eric Seitz, who represents the Govea family, says he normally doesn't file a lawsuit so soon after an accident, but he says he needed to be able to quickly subpoena security camera video taken by nearby businesses. He also says a lawsuit will help allow Dayton's family to tap into the driver's car insurance policy to begin paying for some of his initial medical expenses, which could be astronomical.
In these kinds of cases, we're talking about maybe $15 to $20 million if in fact his paralysis persists, because he's going to need round-the-clock care for the rest of his life, and he's going to need multiple caregivers and specialized care, and he's going to need whatever physical therapy and other therapy is available for people who have these kinds of serious injuries.
He says Dayton suffered severe damage to his neck and back. He is beginning to move his upper body, but still can't move from the waist down.
We're hopeful that pretty soon at least he'll be stabilized, and then they can continue to evaluate the seriousness of his neck and back injuries, the paralysis that continues, and they can get him into a facility where he can get specialized care, most likely on the mainland.
Rick Daysog, Hawaii News Now.
All right, Rick Daysog and the rest of our H&N investigative team will stay on top of that story for us. Want to take you outside live. Here's our tower cam downtown. 82 degrees, just checked out the temperature. Let's turn it over to Guy Hoggy, who has a sneak peek of your weekend.
How's it on this Wednesday, first day of fall? We've got really beautiful weather. It kind of still looks like summer out there. Lots of sunshine expected for those leeward sides and a few passing showers for windward neighborhoods, mainly falling in the overnight and early morning hours. But rainfall totals will be very, very light. So it's going to be a gorgeous day today. We might get a rainbow or two if we're lucky, mainly in the early morning and in the early evening. And then we've got, lots of sunshine expected for those leeward sides. That's why temperatures approaching 90 degrees again today. But with those breezy winds, it'll feel pretty comfortable. Now, as far as the surface, looking up for town and country shores. Swells peaking today. It's going to get another reinforcement tomorrow. Same thing for South Shore. Some fun-sized waves today, getting bigger tomorrow. That's right. Things are looking good for town and country shores as far as the surf goes. So fall starts today, and the weather's not going to change in any significant way anytime soon. We'll have breezy winds, lots of leeward sunshine, and a few windward and Mauka showers. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
We want to bring Billy V into the H&N Digital Center now to talk more about the passing of legendary actor Al Harrington. Billy, what's the world of entertainment saying today?
There's a lot of remembrances, a lot of people putting their condolences for the family on. Al Harrington was born in Pago Pago, Samoa, and he moved to Honolulu as a child. He went to Punahou School, where he played for the state football team, and they won the state championship, by the way, that year. He even had an offer to play for the Baltimore Colts of the National Football League, but decided to go on a 2-year Mormon mission back to his native Samoa. Harrington would later return to Punahou as a teacher and coach. He was not only an entertainer, but became a Waikiki headliner at places like the Polynesian Palace over on Lure Street, the Hilton Hawaiian Village. He earned the title the South Pacific Man. Al Harrington also was a recording artist, and in 2018, he was the recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Hawaii Academy of Recording Arts. Those are the folks that bring you the Hoku Awards. He played Detective Ben Kokua in the original 5-0 series. Then he had a recurring role in the CBS Reboot series. He really enjoyed that. And as a matter of fact, it was on Hawaii 5-0 that Al Harrington, the original series, he got his, a lot of international attention. So people would see him on TV, then they'd come to a show in Waikiki for years and years. But the first time that he was on national television was actually on a CBS show called To Tell the Truth.
Love that classic show. Love that show. And you were talking earlier on Sunrise when you met him. What were some of your memories of him? Always, you said, dressed to the nines.
He was always dressed to the nines, well-dressed. Aloha shirt, always had lei on, always had a suit jacket on. He was an intelligent Polynesian man, well-spoken, lots of aloha, greeted everybody with a smile that he met. My usual annual meeting with him would be on the red carpet of the Hawaii 5-0 premieres on Waikiki Beach, and he was always there. He was really a family man, whether that was the Polynesian family, whether that was the Hawaii 5-0 family, or his own family. He is survived by Rosa, his children. I was in radio with his son, Alema. He recently was hospitalized. Al Harrington leaves us at 85 years old.
And we have more on the life of Al Harrington on your H&N digital platforms. Billy V, thank you very much for that update.
Another loss in the world of acting. Willie Garson has died at the age of 57. There's no word on the cause. He was best known for playing Stanford Blatch on HBO's Sex and the City. He also appeared in several episodes of the Hawaii 5-0 reboot. In all, he's credited with appearances in more than 300 TV episodes and 70 films.
Now to another still developing story. A small Spanish island continues to struggle days after a volcano started erupting, forcing thousands of tourists and residents to flee. Let's turn it over to Molly Hunter with the latest developments.
Residents of La Palma, tourists on that island, are not out of the woods. They are dealing with new eruptions, more small earthquakes, and all of that lava that we've been seeing. Now today, experts are warning this may continue for up to 3 months.
Unstoppable lava swallowing the Spanish island of La Palma. The volcano's so massive, it could last for months, spewing clouds of ash and smoke and molten lava into the air, now racing down towards villages, towards the sea. A drone overhead catching the moment a river of lava crashes into a swimming pool. Everything above the house black and destroyed.
It is like a science fiction film.
The lava moving so fast at more than 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, the president of La Palma saying a wall of lava 20 feet high is consuming everything in its path.
We feared of our life. We were running and into the house, just packing the documents.
The first eruption on Sunday following thousands of small earthquakes or a swarm. And after another quake on Monday, more lava from a new vent that is blown open near the first one. More than 6,000 people have been evacuated, including tourists. More than 180 homes have been lost. We are very nervous, this woman says. Yesterday, they gave us 2.5 hours to pack our essentials. We feel powerless. We can't do anything against a volcano, this man says. It's the first eruption on La Palma in 50 years, but so far, evacuations are saving lives, and officials say there have been no injuries or fatalities on the island.
Now, so much of the destruction so far has been in the sparsely populated countryside areas of the island. What we're watching for today is those rivers of lava are heading down towards the densely populated coastline. Experts say if the lava spills into the sea, that's when we could see serious explosions and clouds of toxic gas. Molly Hunter, NBC News, Paris.
Thanks, Molly, for that update. Let's get to some positive stuff, guys. Let's see what the internet is buzzing about today. And this is a very interesting story. I find it, at least from the world of entertainment. You know, two-time Emmy nominee Kathryn Hahn is set to play a red carpet legend. Yep, Variety reports the actress will star as Joan Rivers in The Comeback Girl. The limited series is for Showtime. Hahn is also the executive producer of the series about the trailblazing comedian. Fun fact.
Yeah, you have a fun fact about Joan Rivers.
Mahealani Richardson was Joan Rivers' intern in the 90s. Believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, right? That's a cool internship.
Got to bring Mahea to discuss here.
Well, she will be here later this week filling in for Ashley, so we can ask her all about that for
Very
sure.
cool.
What'd you find, Mark?
Yeah, so on Netflix, the streaming giant adding more content. Now, more classic children's content could be on the way to Netflix. Netflix announced a deal to purchase the rights to Roald Dahl's collection of stories, which includes Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda. It's unclear what kinds of projects are on the way, but Netflix says it plans to build a, quote, unique universe of products, and I figure you can never have enough incarnations of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So many versions of that.
When it was Willy Wonka, when we saw the new one with Johnny Depp, no complaints. So we'll see what Netflix unveils here. And now to the world of music, talking movies. Shifting to this, a Fugees reunion is on the way. Lauryn Hill, Wyclef Jean, and Pras Michel are touring once again this month to mark the 25th anniversary of their iconic album, The Score. This is their first set of shows in 15 years and begins with New York City tonight at an undisclosed location. So it's going to be a pop-up concert. Very cool to see.
Mark, I don't know if I was ready or not for that story.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Was I killing you softly with that pun? Oh, so
Fuji-la. such a great song from that album. It's really an iconic album. You've been sitting on those puns.
I have them to my side. All right. Okay, let's get out of that. Let's get to some more good news, guys. We'll stop punning. All right. After winning the Olympics and her 5th world title, Carissa Moore will be inducted into the Surfing Walk of Fame in Huntington Beach tomorrow. Yeah. I think she deserves it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Such a decorated career. The accolades, unprecedented, really.
Yeah, and you said you've never personally interviewed her other than a Zoom press conference, but you've talked to her family, and you know them and the entire community, all the island. So proud of her.
Such an amazing family, so down to earth, and she's just so genuine and so warm, and the success that she's been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time, it really is amazing. The Tokyo medal it comes home for a little bit, goes back on the tour, wins a world championship. Just really something else.
Very cool. One more story.
Yeah, and get this. This is really a cool, fun fact here. A pair of twins in Japan landing in the record books. This stands out to me as a twin dad.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations to Umeno Sumiyama and Kome Kodama for being recognized by the Guinness World Records as the world's oldest living female identical twins. They are 107 years old. At 107 years and 300 days old. What's also amazing, they were born into a family of 13.
Wow.
But, reading about this story, something that's a little sad is that they've actually lived most of their lives apart and are also now in separate care homes.
I hope they get to Zoom at least. Like, get to have some connection this year to celebrate this incredible mark at Guinness World Records.
107 years old.
I can't believe that.
Fantastic.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. Thank you so much, Mark, for filling in. You're going to be back at First at 4 on KHNL with all the news updates of today. You saw a lot of developing news still unfolding, so he'll have all those updates for you. Don't forget, we're podcasting all the time here at HNN. All you have to do, go anywhere you find your podcast, type in Hawaii News Now, and it should pull up a bunch of options for you. And also, we're streaming all the time, so download that streaming app to your television, please. That's going to do it for This Is Now. We'll be back tomorrow.